When I was about, I guess about 8, my father always came home on Fridays and left his check, and then he and my mother, he would give the check to my mother, and they would go to the grocery store. Well, this time he got home and got dressed, put on a pinstripe suit and a white starched shirt, and my mother was sitting there with her purse in her lap, and then he just left. And so she just, for a moment, she sat there, and then she said, "Well, boy, come go with me." And so I had a wagon, and I got in the wagon, and she, why, as old as I was, why she'd be putting me in the wagon, I don't know. But anyway, she pulled me a little while, and I got up and started walking. And we went to my grandfather's house, which was up in the woods, and it took us about 20 minutes to get there. And she told my grandfather, she said, well, my father's name was Earl. She said, well, we call my grandfather Daddy Gillum. And she said, well, Daddy Gillum, Earl came home and took a bath, put on his nice suit, and went down to the beer joint, to the Jew joint, and we didn't get groceries. And my grandfather would sit there for a moment, and he said, well, daughter, you go on home, and me and this boy, we're going to go down to the beer joint. And so we got in, he had an old beat up truck, and he drove about 3 miles an hour. And it took us forever to get there. And when we got there, we pulled in front of the beer joint, we pulled across the street. There was a lot, probably 15 or 20 men standing outside smoking cigarettes, talking loud. And then when they saw him coming, everybody took off their hats as they would when the older person arrived. The men would just take off their hats in respect to the older person. And this guy named Mr. Jones, they called him Nigger Jones, came to the truck and he said, well, good evening, Deacon Gillum. And my grandfather did not look at him. My grandfather looked at me and told me, Ronald, he called me Ronald, he said, you tell this trash to go get your father. And so...
This is brought to you by Kansas City Business Association, working to improve our community.